Hello BookTube, it's Louise from the Big Head Bookworm. How are you? How are you doing today? It's the end of May, so I thought I would tell you the rest of the books that I read in May. I've done a previous video where I covered 8 books that I'd read in May so far, and I have a further 5 that I've read. It's nearly the end of May. I may finish another one before we get to the end, but I can roll that into next month. So altogether, I've read an awful lot this month, and one of these books I've actually read twice. I read it, put it down, and about 2 hours later, I picked it up and started reading it again. And this was it. It was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the sequel to A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, which I read at the beginning of the month. Then this one came out. I bought it. A couple of days later, I started reading it. 650 pages long. I think I read it in 2 days, if that. And then it was too soon. It was a question of the right book at the right time. You know, I don't know if you remember that time when a book just captivates you. It just catches you and you don't want to leave the world. You know how people talk about, well, maybe you don't, but some people talk about marathoning a series or binge watching, you know, a box set of some kind, and you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave that world. Somehow that part of your imagination is so caught up in the world, in the story, in the people, in the plot, you just don't want to leave it. And that was it for me. And it is the first one, A Court of Thorn and Roses, is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I can't go into the plot of this one at all because it would be such a spoiler for the first book. But I thought that one was very good. I thought the last 20% of it really kicked off. And I had high hopes for this. Oh, so good. So good. It's fantasy, as I say, it's fairy tale retelling, it's magical. Without giving too much away, it's Hades and Persephone retelling, and it just is wonderful. And talk about falling in love with characters. Absolutely. And this has the side characters in this are just as all of the emotions. I just adored it. I adored it. And this has only just come out. This came out on the 3rd of May. So I have a year to wait for the last part. And I gather it's going to be a trilogy, so the next book will be the last one. And so I read it in 2 days. And I was doing that kind of like, people would talk to me and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, Benedict, stop playing with fire. You know, yeah. Stop doing that. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, carry on reading. And then I literally, the next day, I had to pick it back up again because I had to start it again. And I'm listening to the audiobook now. I'm obsessed. I'm actually obsessed. And I haven't had that feeling for a series or a book for so long where you just get obsessed. I mean, I've loved some books recently, but anyway, I'm gushing. I could gush so much. And if anybody has read this book, please tell me so that I can gush with you and I can share my love, literally, for this book. So I loved it. I don't really want to put it down. I've gone all teenage. I loved it. So it was a bit of the next book was always going to suffer, because it was never going to have the love that I had for that book. So this is Diminished by Tom Fox, which is a Vatican conspiracy book, which I was in the mood for, actually. And it was good because it was very different. So this is modern day, the other one was fantasy. So that was good, It was very good, enjoyable. The only thing I would say is it tended to be more economic, financial conspiracy set in the Vatican City, using the Vatican hierarchy, but I like mine to have a bit more religious. I like my Vatican mysteries to have a bit more religious undertones, and I found this one not quite, didn't quite hit the spot for me, but I still enjoyed it. Apparently there is another book that follows it, but I'm going to leave this as a standalone. It can be read as a standalone, and I think I'm going to do that. And then I picked up, I think because I was just wanting some more fantasy, Uprooted by Naomi Novik, which is, I thought it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it is. And then when I started it, I thought, well, have I come too soon after reading another Beauty and the Beast retelling, and is it going to suffer from comparison? But it is different enough that within the first couple of pages I thought, actually no, this is fine. And I wouldn't say it is Beauty and the Beast, there are elements of it, but I would say it feels a lot more Eastern European folklore is what is behind this book, and I really enjoyed it. Very magical. It is enchanting in every sense. As I said, this was a love it or hate it book, and I loved it. I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed the snarky relationship between the Beauty and the Beast characters. I enjoyed the magic system. I enjoyed the fact that the magic system wasn't particularly explained. It was just, that was the way it is, as can be in folklore. I enjoyed the sense of folklore, of tales of history being passed down, and it's what under, you know, we have myths and fairy tales and retellings that you're taught them as a child, and they help give you a sense of order in this world and explain things. And I felt that was complete in this book, and I really enjoyed that. She's obviously a very, very good writer. She's done another series, but it's quite a long series. She's obviously quite a prolific writer, and I'm not sure I'm ready to jump into another series like that. But I really enjoyed it and completely recommend it. And it's pretty. It's pretty. I like a pretty book. So the next two books I read are graphic novels, which is unusual for me. So there is a YouTuber called SwirlyGirlReads. That's not her real name, obviously, but that's the name of her channel, which if you're not subscribed to, then I completely recommend her. She is brilliant. And she has just recently started to get into graphic novels. I think influenced because of BookTube, because there are so many BookTubers that are very passionate about them. And she explained it, and I completely empathised with her, and I thought, no, that's exactly how it was for me. Was when I was growing up, that I didn't see graphic novels as an option for me. Comics, yes, and I used to read the Dandy and I used to read the Beano and thoroughly enjoyed them and loved them. But I didn't, when I got older, it was the superhero books, and I thought they were for boys. I didn't know that it would be okay for me to read them. That it wasn't given to me or suggested to me, or even nobody kind of said, oh, here, try this. So I was pushed towards either literary fiction or I went into horror, which you would have then thought, I would have thought graphic novels would have been an option. But no, I never read them. It wasn't until about 10-ish years ago I read my first proper graphic novel, which was here, Blankets. Can I pull this out without pulling down half? Yes, here we are. Which is a huge one. Blankets by Craig Thompson, which I really enjoyed. And that I actually got the idea of, oh, right, there are such things as graphic novels. Hi, Johnny, person who recommended it. And so I enjoyed it. But again, I didn't then think, oh, I shall seek out more graphic novels. I think it just was kind of passed me by. So it wasn't until I started watching BookTube that so many people talk about graphic novels. But I didn't know where to start, because when you go and look at them in a bookshop, it's like a foreign language in some ways to me. And it's like that part of the bookshop is not where I would go. And I didn't know where to start. And they can be quite pricey for how quickly that you can read them. And there are so many other books I want to buy. Anyway, I'm rambling. Excuse my rambles. But anyway, so I have got two from the library. I've had to order them in because my library seemed to have this series of, well, they'll have, because it's the county. So they have them spread out throughout the county and you can order them in. And so I thought, well, I'll do that. I shall order them in. So I ordered Saga in, which everybody has read if you're into graphic novels, apparently. Who knew? I didn't know, but I got Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. That's the kind of artwork. I gather this is what we do. Make sure it's not a... I didn't realise they were adult themed. I know. I was like, well, that's saucy, isn't it? Who told me? I never knew. But anyway, yes, I got these. Such quick reads, and I'm really glad that I got them from the library, because I'm not going to read them again. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Saga, and I am going to pick up the second volume from the library, but I'm not going to buy it because I'm not going to read it again. But I am going to get the second volume from the library, and I really enjoyed it. And so this was a great start for me into graphic novels, and I did really enjoy it. I did really enjoy it. It didn't have the satisfaction of reading. It didn't have that kind of. I don't know, perhaps I just need to read more of them to get more into it, to see what I like. And then I read Chew, Volume 1, Taster's Choice, which is Tony Chew is a detective with a secret, a weird serious secret. Tony Chew is a psychopathic, which means he gets psychic impressions from whatever he eats, and he's a detective, but he has to eat, you know, nibble stuff like bits of people and things like that to get there. And I discovered that I'm a complete wuss because I had to keep putting this down because it was making me feel sick. I mean, properly. I just, there were certain pages on this, I was like, oh, I couldn't read it. I had to make sure that I was reading it nowhere near eating time, or people eat. Oh, wow. And I have read a lot of horror, but this, something to do with eating and the images of the food that he eats. Oh, and again, adult themed. So yes, I did enjoy it, and I liked the story, and I thought that was very good. That was fun. I'm not going to continue because of my delicate stomach. How pathetic. I was so ashamed of myself. I thought, can I tell BookTube? But I thought, I can be honest with you. This is a holding place. You will help me through this. my pathetic nature. Anyway, so yeah, so Chew. Really good. Got it from the library. Really glad I got it from the library because I'm not going to read that again. So that's a series I'm not going to bother with. I've got another one. I picked up another one from the library yesterday, which I haven't read yet, which is Descender, which was part of the SSF awards for this year. So that I thought I'd pick that one up. And that's about robots. So that should be more my line. So yeah, so I shall give that a go. So I shall tell you what I think of that in June, because that's what it's going to be. So have you had a good reading month? I have read in the total of 14 books this month, which is just silly. Absolutely silly. I don't know why I've read so much. I've read some really good books. I've read some terrible books. I've also read some really good books, and I've tried different things this month. I've tried the graphic novels, which is obviously somewhere I shall keep on trying, and we'll find out whether I like them or whether I just say that's not for me. But who knows? It's got to try these things. Lovely to see you, BookTube. Let's do this again. Bye.